Alakle, did you mute the audio or it?
To him about it, he's on mute already.
All right, okay, no problem.
Marble Capital Limited was started in 2020. We got our license from the regulators December 2020, and we
for individuals who want to invest without compromising their ethical convictions.
By investing in Marble Capital, from my personal perspective, I would say that it is sustainable to the society because our investments usually affects the society, like one-on-one impact on the society, being that we invest in socially friendly and economically friendly, environmental friendly investments.
What we do essentially is to provide ethical investment opportunities for our clients. We realize that there's so much potential in ethical investment, in Sharia compliant investment, in green investments. These are niche areas that we think have not really been explored in Nigeria, and we felt that we should come around and actually play a key role in that. What we've done in the last 2 years has been to let people know that Sharia compliant investment, ethical financing, green investment, they are real, they are here in Nigeria, and they are actually profitable alternative investment classes.
The company has a very, it has great potential because Islamic finance in Nigeria is still developing, it's still growing, of which, it has a very high potential, and when fully maximized would be the benefits of
in Africa. So we're not looking at just Nigeria, we're looking, continent-wide, and we are on our way towards that. In the last 2 years that we've been in operation, we've already won an award as the best Islamic asset manager in Nigeria from the reputable Business Day Annual Finance Awards. That is just a step. So in the next 5 years, we see ourselves cementing our place in Nigeria and on the continent as a leading fund manager in the ethical space. We see ourselves contributing significantly, to the growth of ethical funds management in all ramifications, whether as an issuing house, whether as a fund manager, and other areas that we believe we're going to participate in the near future. And of course, by so doing, we're going to ensure that that aspect of the industry is enhanced. More competitors will come in, we believe, by us leading properly and giving the regulators that confidence that we're doing the right thing.
Do you want an investment that does not compromise your beliefs and ethical standards? Say no more. Marble Halal Commodities Fund is exactly what you are looking for. The Marble Halal Commodities Fund is an open-ended mutual fund that invests in Sharia-compliant securitized commodities, commodity-linked fixed income instruments. Exchange fund caters to the need portfolios. High net worth individuals, corporate bodies, and institutional investors. With Marble Halal Commodities Funds, our investors enjoy benefits such as diversified portfolios, alternative investment options, medium risks with moderate return, easy entry and exit, strong corporate governance and compliance standard, and ethical and Sharia compliant funds. You can invest with a minimum investment of 50,000 naira. So what are you waiting for? To invest, call us at 0909111938 or visit our website at www.marblecapitallimited.com. You can visit any of our social media handles at Marble Capitals. You can also visit us at any of our addresses, Western House, 8th floor, 8 to 10 Broad Street, Lagos, or Work and Connect, 1st floor, 50 Ebitu Ukiwe Street, Jabi, Abuja. Marble Halal Commodities Fund. Invest halal, invest ethical, invest smart.
Capital Limited was started in 2020. We got our license from the regulators December 2020, and we started operations January 2021.
Marble Capital Limited is an ethical fund management firm that looks to provide guidance for people, for individuals who want to invest without compromising their ethical convictions.
By investing in Marble Capital, from my personal perspective, I would say that it is sustainable to the society because our investments usually affects the society, like one-on-one impact on the society, being that we invest in
What we do essentially is to provide ethical investment opportunities for our clients. We realize that there's so much potential in ethical investment, in Sharia compliant investment, in green investments. These are niche areas that we think have not really been explored in Nigeria, and we felt that we should come around and actually play a key role in that. What we've done in the last 3 years has been to let people know that Sharia compliant investment, ethical financing, green investment, they are real, they are here in Nigeria, and they are actually profitable alternative investment classes.
The company has a very, it has great potential because Islamic finance in Nigeria is still developing, it's still growing, of which, it has a very high potential. When maximized, would be the benefits of everyone.
Marble Capital Limited.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. We're going to wait for 2 minutes more for people to join, and by 10:06, we're going to start the webinar proper. Thank you once again.
So we're not looking at just Nigeria, we're looking, continent-wide, and we are on whether as a fund manager, in other areas that we believe we're going to participate in the near future. And of course, by so doing, we're going to ensure that that aspect of the industry is enhanced. More competitors will come in, we believe, by us leading properly and giving the regulator that.
Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to this
Do you want an investment that does not compromise your beliefs and ethical standards? Say no more. Marble Halal Commodities Fund is exactly what you are looking for. Commodities Fund is an open-ended mutual fund to invest in security instruments, license. Such as diversified portfolios, alternative investment options, medium risks with moderate return, easy entry and exit, strong corporate governance and compliance standard, and ethical and Sharia compliant funds. You can invest with a minimum investment of 50,000 naira. So what are you waiting for? To invest, call us at 0909111938 or visit our website at www.marblecapitallimited.com. You can visit any of our social media handles to you, Jabi, Abuja, Marble Halal Commodities Fund. Invest halal, invest ethical, invest smart.
Olaiton, you're muted. You're muted.
Pardon me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Olaiton Sulaiman, and it's my pleasure to welcome everyone here today. Today's exclusive webinar hosted by Marble Capital Limited, titled Investing in the Sharia Compliant Instrument, the Marble Halal Fixed Income Fund Demystified. In today's world, we live in a fast-paced world where everything is in a fast-forward motion, and there are a lot of opportunities out there. However, we realize that most of these opportunities are not taken because people are not well informed, right? So we feel like it is important for us to create an avenue for people to have informed choices and make informed choices, most especially when it comes to their investment, and ensuring that whatever they invest in aligns with their value. At the same time, they are able to achieve their financial goal. This is one of the reasons why we hosted this webinar today, to help people make informed choices. And we have a lineup field of experts here today who are going to be breaking down the complex nature of financial investment, most especially focusing on fixed income fund, into digestible information that will help you do that. And we are not all also about figures and numbers as well. We are also about creating a community of well-informed people that make informed choices that aligns with their goals, right? And I'll be leaving the floor to, once again, it's my pleasure to have everyone here today, and I'm happy listening. I'm going to be handing over to the moderator today, who is the person of Ms. Zainab Abdulwasi. Zainab, we have the floor.
All right, thank you, Olaiton. All right, thank you, Olaiton. Straight to the business of the day. I'll bring my questions to but before we proceed, if anyone have questions, send it to it. So question goes on, a loss in the market.
Thank you, Zainab. I think the line was breaking a little. But if I understand your question, you're asking if, given the nature of the country, right, how am I sure that investing in halal investments will not necessarily generate loss for me, right? I don't know if I'm audible enough for everybody to hear. I want to appreciate everybody for joining this call, and we hope we can provide answers to burning questions. So from my own perspective, halal investment is a new and it's a growing space within the Nigerian finance investment space. And when you look at it from the point of view of the opportunities that it gives, you realize that investments normally are a risk they are taking. You have to put it into perspective that you're going to you manage your risk accordingly. So your risk appetite affects the kind of investments you take. But if we see the growth of and appreciation of Islamic finance products over the last years, we noticed that there was a 150 billion sukuk issuance that was done a couple of weeks ago that was oversubscribed. That's to show you that the appetite for such products in Nigeria is growing, and it shows that as long as we have the proper infrastructures and proper structures to maintain investments, then there's always going to be an opportunity to grow. So in terms of you thinking of how you suffer loss in the market, I would always say that as long as there's a strong financial sector, industry, and regulation, right, and you invest with the right fund managers, you're always going to be protected from losses. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ismail, for the wonderful response. Moving on to the next question. So, how can halal investment instruments that are faced by conventional
Apologies, sorry. I think we're trying to the network on the moderator's end is a bit, so they are switching systems. Apologies for that.
Hello, Mr. Ismail, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Mr. Ismail.
Yes, I can now, Zainab. I can now. You may go on, please.
Mr. Ismail.
Yes, I can. I can hear you now. Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry for the break. So my next question is, how can halal investment instruments reduce those risks that are faced by conventional investment when investors want to invest in them?
So what I'll tell you is the exposure to risk in investment it's a constant. That's why we invest, right? If you're not willing to take risk, then there's no reason to try to invest. So there are sometimes that the kind of exposures that you have, the kind of risk that you have in a conventional investment instrument are similar to what you would have in a Sharia compliant investment, except for a few. So you're exposed to liquidity risk, you can be exposed to market risk, market volatility, price risk, and all that. But when you look at it vis-a-vis the benefits, right, you realize that what it offers you is an alternative investment opportunity. So while you might have in some instances, maybe you want to specify and say interest rates risk in a conventional system that might not necessarily apply, but it's also because you're operating in a system that is commingled. You might also be affected by that, but you know that you have alternative investment opportunities that you can compare vis-a-vis. So that's the benefit. While you look at maybe a treasury bill or bonds sort of investment, you can compare vis-a-vis a sukuk or an asset-backed commercial paper, right? There's also that opportunity to diversify your investments. So if you are the kind of investor that likes to play in both spaces, you look at it as an opportunity to say, okay, what's my risk exposure in this space, and what's it compared to the next, the alternative investment. So if you're not driven by religious values and you're just an investor taking advantage of all opportunities, then you look at the diversification opportunity. More importantly, though, there has been a growth in impact investment, and that basically means that investments that are impactful, you realize that how you want to look at how risky they are in comparison to the benefits they offer. We have noticed that more impactful investments have more long-term benefits, right? And their risk of exposure in the long term is whittled away in comparison to investments that are just purely profit oriented. So that means there's that ethical drive to be more ethical in investments, and then in the long term, it's more beneficial to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ismail. My next question is, um, can a non-Muslim invest in a Sharia compliant instrument? Like, what's your take on that?
Oh, that question is directed to me, right? So I feel
Yes.
the investment space is an open space, right? It doesn't segregate or discriminate against anybody, right? We as given my experience, have noticed even within the banking space that when it comes to financing facilities, every business operator is looking for the best um, avenue or option to put his funds. Likewise, for an investor, the first thing that comes to mind is, I think, the beauty of the Islamic finance or Sharia compliant investment is that for any investor, Muslim or non-Muslim alike, you see that there's an ethical drive in the investment. So that's a motivation for everybody, right? So it doesn't limit who can or who cannot invest. It gives you an opportunity to plug in your funds in different areas. For the Muslim investor, it is an opportunity to fulfill your own investments based on the belief system that we have, a strong belief system that encourages good and encourages impact investing. For a non-Muslim investor, you look at it from the point of view that you're also doing impact investing, but you are also able to diversify and look at alternative forms of investments.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ismail. So, what you're saying now is that anyone can invest irrespective of their religious benefits, right?
Yes, irrespective of their religious bias or focus, it's an open investment for everybody.
All right. Thank you. So, on to you, Abdulwarith. So, my first question is, can a Sharia compliant instrument perform better than conventional investment instruments?
Okay. All right, thank you, Zainab, for the question. Yeah, so I think it's quite important for us to note that performance of investment and market condition. So we have some systematic risk, so which are relevant across market regardless of the market or the Sharia in terms of what the constituent are and how maybe the underlying instrument or industries are basically performing. For instance, so when some particular industries are not performing really well, so let's take for instance maybe the brewery industries, these are those into alcoholic and beer production, the likes of hotel chains, etc. So when these industries or when these firms are not performing quite well, so it might affect the conventional indices or those conventional instruments, and it could affect them in the negative. And also, for instance, for a large, I would just draw on part of what Mabu draws a little. So, for instance, for a large part of this, Mabu equity index managed to outperform SI at different point in time. So at some point in time, you realize that, yeah, that they eventually they average out. But however, a comparative analysis recently shows that Islamic and conventional stock indices in different regions found that the overall Islamic indices perform better than conventional indices, but in some cases, the performers are at par or they are almost the same. Right?
All right, thank you, Abdul Haris. So my next question is, why do you think we need Sharia compliant investments in, especially in Nigeria?
Hello, Zainab. Is that question directed to?
Yes, it's directed.
Mr. Ismail, I believe.
Hello.
Our question is, that okay, she said, why do we need Sharia compliant investments? What's the need for Sharia compliant investments where we have conventional investments like NGX?
No, sorry, just to correct the so that we don't miss. NGX is not NGX is just an exchange
Sorry,
that offers
change. Yeah.
services, that offers opportunities for people to trade and buy stock positions, right? So for us, when you want to look at, now, this is from a purely secular point of view, it is always nice to expand the finance space, right? So an alternative mode of investment is always a welcome idea in any financial industry investment space. It gives opportunities for people to consider and say they have options of what to pick and what not to pick. For a very religious sensitive environment, it is nice to know, because there is no denying from a religious perspective why the prohibition of interests and prohibition of investing in certain areas that are not direct, that have no direct benefit or are not beneficial to the um, society. So we believe that the exposure or the option to have Sharia compliant investments gives an investor opportunity to pick and decide and feel at ease to say, okay, when I put my funds somewhere, I don't have to worry about the legality from my religion's point of view or the ethics from my religious point of view. Likewise, for the non-Sharia motivated investor, it is an opportunity to explore alternative modes of investments. And ultimately, we'll see that while Abdulwarith mentioned that you might notice that performance, depending on the instruments and the structure of such instruments, right, performance might be at par, sometimes better than what you get in the conventional system. But you expand that space and provide opportunities and ability to explore different alternatives and diversify your investment. The beauty of investment is not to always concentrate your investment in one particular portfolio, but to be able to diversify and invest in different portfolios like Marble offers you. So you're doing not just buying shares position or taking stocks on NGX, you're looking at commodities as an investment, you're looking at different fixed income instruments that maybe in a conventional system, you might just consider in terms of fixed income instruments, you might consider bonds and maybe some treasury bills. right? While when you now put the Islamic Sharia compliant investment into play, you find that, oh, apart from bonds, I can also consider sukuk structures, right? That have, and under even the sukuk, you have diversified structures under one sukuk. So you could find out that while a bond is just debt-based, a sukuk can be an ijara-based, a lease-based transaction. It can be a partnership transaction. It can be a BOT transaction. It comes in different shapes and sizes, right? Likewise, when you want, so under that, under the Sharia compliant investments avenue, or you find a lot of opportunities that you can create. So for us as fund managers, what we've realized is that it has given us that wide array of investment opportunities to pick from. Better is say that it's even more expansive than the conventional system when we look deeply. Sorry, there's a question here that maybe I should just quickly answer before it goes away. Please, do you provide allow stock screening services? Not as a service right now, but we screen our Sharia, all the stocks that we invest in, right? So maybe if you want to personally trade or buy stocks, and you could look at what we have screened and take it as your investments within your investment circle or something. But we do our own screening internally. Thank you. Zainab, you're not audible enough.
So I think Zainab is muted.
Yes, Zainab, can you unmute, please?
Okay, sorry about that. So my question is on to you, Abdwaris. My question is, how can we know halal fixed income when we see one, like halal fixed income fund?
Oh, okay. So yeah, basically to know if a fixed income fund is halal, you need to like check a number of qualities, right? So if you need to check if the fund complies with certain Islamic law or Sharia or Sharia. So here are some factors to identify if the fixed income fund is halal or not. So you might start by looking at the sector, right? So look at the sector in which the fund is investing in. So is it investing in maybe sectors such as adult entertainment, such as gambling or breweries? So it has a red flag for you. So you can see the structure as well and the function of the fund manager. So what does this fund manager do on a normal day? So where has this fund manager always puts money? And you need to also check, is there an existence of a Sharia advisory board? So a registered fund manager who specializes in maybe a Sharia compliant instrument would certainly have an in-house Sharia advisory board, right? And you also have regulations that you have to abide by. So you have some regulations by SEC which you have to follow, regulations from CBN which you have to abide to, and you also have to check the investment philosophy. So what is this fund trying to achieve? So is it trying to support a particular industry? Is it trying to, so for instance, let's look at the FGN Sukuk. So years and years over the time, we see that the federal government has always come to the market and raised funds to actually construct roads. So you can see where that money is going into. So those are just some of the factors to consider to know if a fund is actually is halal or not. So look at the industry, look at the philosophy, look at the structure, and look at is there existence of a Sharia advisory board. So all of this will give you a guidance as to decide whether a fund is halal or you are investing in a conventional fund.
Yeah, and also to add to what Abdulwaris mentioned, if it's a
All right,
fixed income
thank you,
instrument,
Abdwaris.
yes, let me add to,
So for
sorry,
us
Zainab.
to,
Yes, Zainab, sorry, please, let me just add to what Abdulwaris mentioned. Right, for a fixed income investment, because normally within the investment space, there are fixed income and variable income investments, right? fixed income gives you a fixed return as opposed to variable income, where the returns can vary over a period of time. So you're not, that's a variable return investments are normally higher risk investments. Fixed return investments, they give you the idea of capital preservation above capital appreciation. So for investments like Sukuk, most of the time they are fixed income investments, right? Some commercial papers, fixed income investments. You can compare to what you have in treasury bills. So that is just to explain the difference between a fixed income and variable income investments when you want to. Sorry, Mary, Zainab, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ismail and Abdulwaris, for that wonderful response. So, for us to invest in a fixed income, we will need to check if conform with Islamic principles, right? And if it's what you're investing on, it's a Sharia compliant product. So thank you. So my next question goes to Abdulwaris. How can investor generate income without relying on interest-bearing investments?
Okay, all right, thank you. So essentially, Sharia compliant funds helps you generate returns or income for investors without necessarily relying on interest-bearing investment. So a number of ways include profit sharing, just like Mr. Ismail mentioned initially. So many of these Islamic finance investments have different structures, and like he said, using his word, so they come in different shapes and sizes, right? So depending on the structure, you can look at at a wakala structure, for instance. So that gives you an agency kind of agreement, right? So you can look at an ijara, a leasing kind of structure, and all of this gives you your return in different forms. So some gives you in terms of profit sharing, a number of other sharing, a number of maybe fixed income in terms of income, and a number of other ways. So depending on the structure, so there are enough ways on an ethical or a Sharia compliant investment. You can earn from profit sharing, you can earn from profit and loss sharing, you can earn on rental income, and a number of other, depending on the structure.
All right, thank you, Abdulwaris. Okay. My next question is directed to Mr. Ismail. So, we would like to know if there are any fees or charges that is associated to managing a fund that align with Sharia guidelines.
Yes, because we operate within a regulated space, right? We are not at liberty to set our fees. We need to comply with certain standards. It is important to note that we as Marble Capital are duly regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission. So on transactions that we do, there are fees that include maybe management fee. That's the fee that we charge for managing your funds for you. There's also the SEC fee that we have to give to SEC on an annual basis. So these fees there are fees that be based on negotiations, so and depending on the type of contract that we're dealing with, that will come into play. But it's for every form of investment, Sharia compliant or non-Sharia compliant, there are always fees attached, and that's the incentive for the manager. In this case, it could be your wakil, your agent, so you could be your mudarib, the manager of the fund. So there are fees that they will charge. Sometimes the fees can be based on performance, right? Or incentive performance, as we would like to put it. So everything is dependent on agreements and also on regulations guiding our operations.
Thank you, Mr. Ismail.
Do
So
we
my next
take?
question goes
Okay,
to
go ahead, please, because there are
Abdulwaris.
some questions on the
Can you
chat
provide
box.
us with Sharia compliant investment instruments examples, and how do they differ from conventional investments?
Oh, okay, okay. All right then. Thank you. So yeah, let's look at it this way. So let's start with Sukuk, for instance, right? Are you still speaking? All right. So let's look at them individually. For instance. So and the most one towards the agency, for instance. So essentially, I would take the sukuk and bonds and let's can compare them. So essentially, sukuk are asset backed and they are asset based. So they are targeted towards achieving specific objectives. So for instance, the construction of roads, right? And the rates are fixed, right? Let's look at another instrument, for instance. So let's look at mutual funds. So Sharia compliant mutual funds are ethical based, and they are usually specific, unlike conventional funds like an indices or just like an equity fund. So an equity fund does not take into account certain prohibitions, the likes of maybe certain industries that you're not expected to like be involved with, gambling, like we mentioned earlier, adult entertainment, buoys, and all. So, but a Sharia compliant fund or a Sharia compliant investment actually like takes into account those prohibitions. Those are some of the factors that needs to be observed and that needs to be carefully taken into consideration before going into such investment. So, however, maybe a fixed income fund, a conventional fixed income fund, or a conventional equity fund, just look at the instrument regardless of the industries, regardless of what the philosophy of the instrument or of the instrument is, and just essentially invest into that fund. But an ethical or a Sharia compliant mutual funds takes into consideration those restrictions. So you have to be cautious of interest-bearing instruments. You have to be cautious of the industries. You have to be cautious of the philosophy. What is this fund or what is this instrument trying to instruments?
Zainab, sorry, I don't thank you. There's a question on the answer on the question and answer box that I just want to quickly address before we move on. And the individual is asking, can I go ahead, please?
Yes, you can go ahead.
All right. So the individual is asking, yeah, the economy is in a sham, and with the floating exchange rates, business collapsing and allow business to be negatively impacted. What are your plans to still maintain a stable return for our investors? So, regardless, they say the highest risk a man can take when it comes to investing is not investing at all, right? So, regardless of the performance of the current economy, right? We have found that over the last year, for instance, we had investments that have done variable investments. Again, that's the risk that you take, but have outperformed even the fluctuation within the FX markets, right? And outperformed even the inflation rate. So for us, the goal is always to ensure that we constantly look for opportunities to invest, right? And constantly look for how, because we don't directly, as long as you are pumping money into impact investing, you might directly or indirectly affect inflation in one way or the other. Ultimately, what we are seeing with the exchange rate system is a lot of speculation and not necessarily based on real. We hope that in the nearest future there will be a bit of sanity within that space. But we as investment and fund managers, our goal is just to ensure that at every point in time we're trying to make sure that we have products available that at the minimum can give you a return that will make sense in comparison to what the inflation is saying. So I always say if you have an investment that gives you at the minimum even 5%, and inflation is saying 26%, in a fair sense, you beat inflation by 5. So your point, you have dropped by 5%, and your own inflation rate is 21%. If you find an investment that gives you 15%, you've dropped by 11%. So that's the way we should look at it, as opposed to thinking, well, if I invest or not invest, there is no benefits. I'll repeat myself again. The greatest risk to investment is not investing at all. So you always want to consider opportunities within the space as much as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ismail. So my next question goes to you. Can you explain the role of ethical and moral consideration in Sharia compliant investments, and how does this affect, like, how does this impact decision making when selecting investments?
So I think that moral consciousness is a driving force in any investments you're trying to make. And there's beyond profit making, you are thinking about what impact am I making, and how resourceful or how good is the investment, not just for my own benefit, but social benefit. So those moral considerations are things that the morally conscious investor would always continue to always strive to make. And that will not guide what kind of investments you're looking at. So when you look at it, when a sukuk structure comes out and is saying for infrastructure, you think about, oh, what's the benefits to the public, right, regarding this infrastructural development, and it gives me joy to invest in such investment. So let me invest in commodities because I believe that I'm aiding the farmers to produce more and providing more food for the general public. So those mentality, those drive, and then you know that your investment is not negatively impacting any way, anyhow. I think that's the driving force behind moral considerations. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ismail. Abdul, I'm directing this question to you.
Okay.
Okay, can you give us explanation on fundamental principles of Sharia compliant investment?
Okay, all right. So essentially, the building blocks of Sharia compliance investments are numerous, but I will try and be specific and list a few and try to put life into it, right? So I think the most fundamental one is avoidance of prohibitions according to the Islamic law. So there are guiding blocks, and there are principles that has to be followed, and at the same time there are certain prohibitions. We've mentioned a number of such prohibition: acceptance of riba, that is interest, investing in non-ethical or non-Sharia compliant instruments or industries, adult entertainment. Lot more. So I think the most fundamental one is the fact that there are certain prohibitions that you have to stay away from. So that is one. And the second one is avoidance of interest, which is what I've also mentioned partly. So the structure of the Islamic finance industry is structured in a way such that it works outside of the conventional interest rate sense. So there's that need to avoid anything that has to do with maybe acceptance or giving of riba. And the third one, the third principle guiding Islamic finance investment is the fact that Islamic finance instruments are asset-backed and they are asset-based. So when we say asset-backed or asset-based, for instance, so let's say there's a sukuk that is targeted towards construction of let's even say roads, like the FDN sukuk, right? So in that, right? And also, secondary observations might include the fact that these are asset backed. So let's say this is a private school, right? Tailors are constructing roads. So the roads, there is an asset, which is the road, and you can earn returns from that asset itself, which are the roads. So you can charge tolls, maybe toll fees, and yeah, so you can charge toll fees and the number of other. So in that sense, it is asset backed and it is asset based. And then social and ethical responsibility. So there's this drive towards ethical and socially responsible investing, and we all have ESG mandate, and so this Islamic finance principle, there is also that ethical principle underlying it. So the need for social and ethical responsibility is part of the fundamental principle of Sharia compliant investment, and the highest objective to serve and worship the Almighty. So essentially, you are doing this because it aligns with your ethical belief, and you are also doing it in some way because it's an act of ibadah. At the same time, you are earning a source of livelihood for yourself. So I think these are just some of the basic principles underlying Sharia compliant investments.
All right, thank you, Abdulwaris. So this is going to be the last question. I'm also directing this to you. So how does Marble Capital Limited ensure that investment products?
Sorry, Zainab, I didn't get that question. Can you come again, Zainab?
Can you hear my question?
Yeah, please, can you repeat?
So, hello, can you hear me? That's a question.
I did not get your question. Please, can you repeat the question?
That how does Marble Capital Limited ensure that investment products adhere to Sharia principles, and what kind of due diligence is involved in selection process?
Oh, okay, all right. So, and yeah, thank you. So, I think firstly, we have a strong and recognized Sharia advisory board. So we have the likes of Imam Onike. That's the chief missioner of Afat. We have Dr. Aliyu Dairu. We have Dr. Said Adekunle Mikael. So these are recognized Sharia advisory council, and they are members of our Sharia advisory. So before product is launched, we invest in it. So this board has to approve this investment. It has to be certified by the Sharia Advisory Council. And secondly, there are other regulations that has to be observed. And as a registered fund manager with SEC, so there is SEC regulations that guides Islamic finance investment. So there is SEC and there is FRIS regulations that has to be observed as well. And we have an internal Sharia advisory team. So for instance, let's say looking at let's take equities as a case study, for instance now. So we have a team who scrutinize and give a regular review of those instruments to confirm that at a given point in time, this instrument or this investment are Sharia compliant. So we have a Sharia Advisory Council. There is the regulatory aspect of it, SEC and FRIS, and we have an internal Sharia advisory team. So all of these come together to ensure that all of our products are adhering to Sharia principles.
All right.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Thank you, Abdulwaris, for the wonderful response. So at Marble Capital, we are also Sharia compliance fund manager, and we are also member of IFSB, which means International Financial Sharia Board. All right, we'll be answering questions that we have in our Q&A session. And more questions can come in. No, it's two. So in the absence of no question, I will be handing over to Zainab Adedeji, who is from our PD department. She is going to be taking us through a short presentation that explains what we do in MAB Capital, services we offer, and investment opportunities and products that we have. Okay, on to you, Zainab.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ismail, Abdulwaris, and Zainab, and thank you, everyone, for joining this session. So I'll be taking us through our products and services at Marble Capital. So Marble Capital Limited was incorporated in 2020. We are fund managers, and our business lines cut across advisory, we have advisory where we come up with share structure, and then we also share advisors for different transactions. Financial advisory raise funds for companies depending on the projects which is being embarked on, and then we also look at their books to confirm they're eligible for sale. We also issue allowance certification to companies. So mostly, a lot of Muslims are very conscious about what they consume. So for that reason, it is very important for companies that deal in edibles to get allowance certification, just so that they include the Muslim Ummah in their clientele base. So we also offer ESG capacity building, where we train individuals and companies on how to integrate the ESG practices into their businesses and personal lives. We do ESG audits to confirm that there's strict adherence to ESG practices. Green Sukuk and ESG ratings are part of the things that we also do. For under the asset management unit, this is the unit that actually come up with the instruments that align with your financial, ethical, and your risk appetite. So we look at how what your risk appetite is. We look at your financial goal, and then we're able to design what investment or what instrument suits you. So we have different investment opportunities. There's the commodities, we have the fixed income equities. We have public funds that are mutual funds, and also do bespoke portfolio management. So based on what I said earlier, these are some of the transactions that we have consummated in the past in different capacities. We have acted as Sharia advisors for the One Watt Solar Limited for the 1 billion private green sukuk. We also acted as Sharia advisor for the project Emerald. We acted as Sharia advisor for the Nigerian Digital Islamic Wales. We're Sharia advisor. We acted as Sharia advisor for the Purple Urban Limited 5 billion Al-Ijara private sukuk. We acted as Sharia advisor. And so based on our milestones in our short-term period of existence, we won the Business Day Bafi Awards for the Islamic Asset Management Firm of the Year for the year 2022. So our Sharia board comprises of reputable intellects that have vast knowledge in Islamic finance. We have the Chief Commissioner of NASFAT, Imam Onike, who is a registered foreign Sharia advisor. We also a student from Islamic finance. Dr. Ali is a senior lecturer at the He's also a deputy director of banking and finance at BUK Cameroon. Imam Ridwanullah is the chief imam of Lekki Central Mosque. He is a graduate of Islamic law. He He's an Hafiz. He has memorized the entire Quran, and then he has written over 15 books. Dr. Said Adekunle is also a PhD researcher, and he sits on the advisory board of reputable companies like ISRA and Taj, to mention a few. So here's just a snapshot of the different portfolios that we have. Whose risk appetites are actually aggressive, high risk clients, they can actually tap into this investment opportunity. The better portfolio is for moderate investors, moderate risk investors, and then the gamma portfolio is for the conservative risk averse investors. So interestingly, year to date, these portfolios have performed very well year to date, with alpha doing up to 45% year to date, better at 31%, and gamma at 21% year to date. Bespoke portfolio management, where we design instruments to suit individual preferences, right? So you can reach out to us and tell us what particular investment you want. It could be equity, it could be fixed income, you could do commodities. So we also design, like I said earlier, we design instruments to suit your financial goal, your ethical standard, and your risk appetite. So beyond the private funds, we also have public funds that you can invest in. It's the Marble Halal Mutual Funds. It comprises of the Marble Halal Commodities Fund and the Marble Halal Fixed Income Fund. So the Marble Halal Commodities Fund is actually for the high-risk clients. It seeks to invest in Sharia compliant commodities-linked instruments that are listed on an approved exchange by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So the minimum investment amount for the commodities is 50,000 naira. Marble Halal Fixed Income Fund is for the risk-averse investors, right? And the minimum investment amount is 10,000 naira. You can, to begin your investment journey with us, you can scan the barcode that you have on your screen, right? So it's very easy. You have easy steps to begin your investment journey with us. And for the existing subscribers that we have a top-up form that you can actually fill. It will be dropped in the comment section. We can also send to you on request. You can fill the top-up form to top up your investment. So basically, depending on your frequency, you do that on your own. And for some of us that think that we can easily forget to top up our investments, but we actually have the intention of doing that, there's also a direct debit form that you can, and then you just advise us accordingly as to how to debit your bank accounts and credit your investment accounts. So it depends on whatever frequency you want. It could be monthly, quarterly, or yearly. You just give us the instruction and we act accordingly. So for you to be able to know more about Marble Capital, you can check up our website at www.marblecapitallimited.com. You can also connect with us on all our social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay, so for you to be able to speak to our representatives, you have a number displayed on your screen. You can actually call the number, or you reach out to us on WhatsApp. And if you prefer to send an email, we'll also displayed on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Zainab, for that wonderful short presentation. Though we do have some questions in the chat box. I believe Mr. Shehu Mohammed wants to know what is the indicative rate of returns. So I don't know which one is referring to. So Mr. Ismail, can you please take over and give him the returns for both fixed income and mutual funds?
Yes, thank you, Zainab. So indicative rate of return, these are new funds that we pushed into the market. For the fixed income fund, we're benchmarking it with the Sukuk issuance, which is
Mr. Ismail, are you there?
Can you hear me? I'm speaking now. Can you hear me?
If Mr. Ismail is not there, can
you hear me? I'm speaking now.
Can you hear me? As to what is our return rate for our funds, both on the Marble Halal Commodities Fund and the Marble Halal Fixed Income Fund?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, so we can hear you now. We can hear you.
All right. So I said for the fixed income fund, it's been benchmarked with the Sukuk performance. So it ranges between 15 and 18% annually, right, based on the instruments that we invest in. Our commodities funds as a targets is expected return of between 15 and 20% annually. This is benchmarked against the FX commodities index, which as at today, invariably is doing about 101% in terms of returns. So we have an expected minimum returns of about 15 to 20% for the commodities. And as favorable as the market goes, we should shoot higher. For the fixed income is between 15 and 18%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ismail. And somebody's asking us, what is ESG? And would you like to make a comment as to what ESG is? And Mr. Ismail, if you have any addition to that, it's appreciated.
I think as ESG, environmental, social, and governance, so it is part of impact investing, right? It's a new field a lot of people are considering. So when you think about investments or you think about providing financial advisory, you want to look at the environmental impact or the social impact or sustainability impact of such investment and governance to ensure that the investments are impactful, are ethical, are morally inclined. So there is why we have ESG as part of something we do is because there is that alignment and relation between ethical Sharia compliance investments and environmentally conscious, socially conscious, and sustainability conscious investments and good governance structures investments. So that's the point of the ESG.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ismail, for that wonderful response. I believe we still have one more, which is what is bespoke asset management? What is bespoke asset management about?
So within the finance space, there's something we call discretionary or non-discretionary investments. Discretionary investments is where we as a fund manager use our discretions for your investment. Non-discretionary is when you as the investor tell us what to use your funds for within our own within the investment opportunities that we have, right? So then bespoke investment, bespoke asset management is us trying to tailor the investments that we have to match your desires, your financial goals, your risk appetite. So you can approach us and tell us what your financial goals are. Are you looking to invest long-term, 10, 15, 20 years? Are you looking to get income or returns annually, semi-annually, right? Or on a monthly basis? Then we tell you what is available and how we can structure it to meet those needs of yours. So that's what's considered bespoke asset management. We tailor each investment to suit each individual's desire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail, for that wonderful response. And I believe we have come to the end of this session today. And it has been more than a pleasure to have everyone on here today. And I'm sure we have all taken one or two things from what has been said today. If you have any more questions for us, you can always call us on the number displayed on your screen. You can visit our website or you can reach us to us on any of our social media platforms. Once again, thank you for attending, and we would be looking forward to seeing you next time when we're having another webinar like this. And we're going to be making all the tapes for other recordings from this webinar available on our YouTube channel and social media platforms. Have a nice day, everyone. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ismail, for the wonderful
We got our
response.
license from the regulators December 2020, and we started operations January 2021.
Marble Capital Limited is an ethical fund management firm that looks to provide guidance for people, for individuals who want to invest without compromising their ethical convictions?
By investing in Marble Capital, from my personal perspective, I would say that it is sustainable to the society because our investments usually affects the society, like one-on-one impact on the society, being that we invest in socially friendly and economically friendly, environmental friendly investments.
What we do essentially is to provide ethical investment opportunities for our clients. We realize that there's so much potential in ethical investment, in Sharia compliance investment, niche areas that we think have not really been explored in Nigeria, and we felt that we should come around and actually play a key role in that. What we've done in the last 2 years has been to let people know that Sharia compliant investment, ethical financing, green investment, they are real, they are here in Nigeria, and they are actually profitable alternative investment classes.
The company has a very, it has great potential because Islamic finance in Nigeria is still developing, it's still growing, of which, it has a very high potential, and when fully maximized would be the benefits of everyone.
Marble Capital Limited has a vision of being the largest ethical fund manager in Africa. So we're not looking at just Nigeria, we're looking, continent-wide, and we are on our way towards that. In the last 2 years that we've been in operation, we've already won an award as the best Islamic asset manager in Nigeria from the reputable Business Day Annual Finance Awards. That is just a step. So in the next 5 years, we see ourselves cementing our place in Nigeria and on the continent as a leading fund manager in the ethical space. We see ourselves contributing significantly, to the growth of ethical funds management in all ramifications, whether as an issuing house, whether as a fund manager, and other areas that we believe we're going to participate in the near future. And of course, by so doing, we're going to ensure that that aspect of the industry is enhanced. More competitors will come in, we believe, by us leading properly and giving the regulators that confidence that we're doing the right thing.
Thank you everyone for joining this session today. I believe we have all learned one or two things about ethical investments and most especially fixed income investment. It was a pleasure to have you all here today. The recording from this session is going to be provided on our YouTube channel. It's also going to be on all our social media platforms for reference if you wish to watch back. And for anyone interested in investing with us, an email is going to be sent to everyone that are registered for the webinar. Thank you once again, and I hope we all have a wonderful day.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Mr. Ismail. Thank you, Olite.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Do you want an investment that does not compromise your beliefs and ethical standards? Say no more. Marble Halal Commodities Fund is exactly what you are looking for. The Marble Halal Commodities Fund is an open-ended mutual fund that invests in Sharia-compliant securitized commodities, commodity-linked fixed income instruments, and commodity-linked equities listed on exchanges licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The fund caters to the needs of investors with a preference for diversified portfolios, and an ideal choice for retail investors, high-net-worth individuals, corporate bodies, and institutional investors. With Marble Halal Commodities Funds, our investors enjoy benefits such as diversified portfolios, alternative investment options, medium risks with moderate return, easy entry and exit, strong corporate governance and compliance standard, and ethical and Sharia compliant funds. You can invest with a minimum investment of 50,000 naira. So what are you waiting for? To invest, call us at 0909111938 or visit our website at www.marblecapitallimited.com. You can visit any of our social media handles at Marble Capitals. You can also visit us at any of our addresses, Western House, 8th floor, 8 to 10 Broad Street, Lagos, or Work and Connect, 1st floor, 50 Ebitu Ukiwe Street, Jabi, Abuja. Marble Halal Commodities Fund. Invest halal, invest ethical, invest smart.